You are sitting quietly, maybe scrolling your phone, maybe washing dishes, when suddenly a thought drops into your mind like a stone into still water. What if they died? Not a stranger, not an abstract person, but someone you love, someone alive, someone whose laughter you know by heart. Your chest tightens, your stomach drops, your mind begins to spiral. You imagine the phone call, the funeral, the silence. And then comes the second wave of fear. Why am I thinking this? Does this mean something bad will happen? This episode is for you. You wonder, is this normal? Do other people experience this? The short answer is yes. Let's start by grounding ourselves in reality. Yes, this is normal. Extremely normal. Psychologists call these intrusive death-related thoughts. They occur in people who are emotionally bonded, highly empathetic, anxious or sensitive, deeply attached, or simply human. Ironically, the more you love someone, the more likely your brain is to imagine losing them. Why? Because love creates vulnerability, and the brain is designed to protect. The neuroscience behind your thoughts. Why your brain does this? Your brain did not evolve to make you happy. It evolved to keep you alive. The threat detection brain. At the center of this experience is a structure called the amygdala, your brain's early warning system. Its job is simple: detect danger before it happens. The problem? The amygdala does not distinguish well between real threats and imagined ones. So when your brain recognizes strong emotional attachment, high emotional value, deep dependence, it runs a simulation. What would happen if this disappeared? This is not prophecy. This is prediction modeling. Your brain is rehearsing pain to prepare you, just in case. The default mode network. Where anxiety lives. When you are not focused on a task, your brain enters what neuroscientists call the default mode network, DMN. This network replays memories, imagines futures, runs what-if scenarios. Anxiety lives here. And when the DMN latches onto death, it doesn't stop at logic. It floods the body with emotion. That's why the fear feels real. Your nervous system responds as if the loss already happened. Love, attachment, and fear are neurologically linked. From infancy, attachment equals survival. In early human history, losing a caregiver often meant death. Losing a protector meant danger. Losing a tribe meant extinction. So your brain wired love and fear together. Modern neuroscience shows that the same neural circuits that process love also process grief. Anticipatory grief activates pain networks. Separation anxiety never fully disappears. It evolves. So when you imagine losing someone, you are not being negative. You are experiencing attachment awareness. The psychological connection to why these thoughts stick: anticipatory anxiety. This is the fear of a future loss that has not occurred. It often shows up when you feel emotionally safe. You have something meaningful to lose. Life feels temporarily stable. The mind, uncomfortable with stability, asks, what's the catch? Thought-action fusion. Many people with anxiety believe, if I think it, it might happen. This is called thought-action fusion. But neuroscience is clear: thoughts do not cause events. They are mental noise, not cosmic commands. Why trying to stop the thought makes it worse? Here's the paradox: the more you try not to think about death, the more your brain flags it as important. This is called the ironic process theory. Your brain says, this thought must be dangerous if you're avoiding it. Let's keep checking. Historically, humans have always feared loving too much. This is not a modern problem. Ancient civilizations wrote about this fear openly. Ancient Greece. The Greeks believed love always carried tragedy. They even had a word for it. Phobos. Fear tied to attachment. Stoic philosophy. Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum. Imagining loss. Not to suffer but to appreciate. But they warned. Do not live in the imagined funeral. Return to the present embrace. Medieval times. People lived with death constantly present. Loving deeply meant knowing loss was inevitable. The difference? They accepted mortality. We resist it. When does this become a problem? Occasional intrusive thoughts are normal. But it becomes unhealthy when the thoughts are constant. You avoid loving fully. You mentally rehearse funerals daily. You feel panic or dissociation. You can't enjoy time together. This is when anxiety is in control. Not love. How to stop worrying without fighting your mind. Let's be practical. You don't stop these thoughts by force. You stop them by changing your relationship to them. 1. Name the thought, don't argue with it. Instead of, why am I thinking this? Say, this is an intrusive thought about loss. Naming activates the prefrontal cortex, calming the amygdala. 2. Ground in the present body. Fear lives in the future. Safety lives in the body. Try this, press your feet into the floor. Notice 3 sounds. Take a slow exhale longer than the inhale. You're telling your nervous system, nothing is happening right now. 3. Replace control with presence. You cannot guarantee survival. But you can guarantee presence. When the thought appears, gently ask, how can I love fully right now? This transforms fear into gratitude. 4. Limit mental rehearsals. Your brain thinks rehearsing loss prepares you. It doesn't. It only exhausts you. Set a boundary, I don't need to imagine this today. Then redirect. Not suppress. 5. Accept mortality without living in it. Acceptance is not resignation. It is saying, yes, loss exists. And today, love exists too. When to seek help. You should seek professional support if the anxiety feels uncontrollable. You experience panic attacks. The thoughts interfere with sleep. You feel emotionally numb. You avoid closeness out of fear. Therapies that help: cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT. Somatic therapy. Trauma-informed therapy. Medication can help if anxiety is severe, but therapy addresses the root. The meaning behind the fear. Here is the truth few people say out loud: the fear of losing someone is the price of loving deeply. Your anxiety is not a sign of doom. It is a sign that your heart is open. But love does not ask you to suffer twice. Once in imagination, and once in reality. So when the thought comes, say quietly, I see you. I know why you're here. But right now, love is alive. And return to the voice, the presence, the moment. That is where life actually happens. Accepting mortality begins with shifting from control to awareness. The fear of death often comes from the mind's demand for certainty in a world that offers none. Neuroscience shows that the brain resists impermanence because it threatens identity and attachment, so it tries to outrun death through planning, worry, or avoidance. Acceptance is not achieved by getting used to death, but by repeatedly returning attention to what is undeniably real. The present moment. When you stop arguing with the fact of impermanence and instead observe it. Through breath, bodily sensation, nature, or time passing. You teach the nervous system that acknowledging death does not equal danger. Mortality stops being an abstract catastrophe and becomes a quiet boundary that gives life shape. Psychologically and historically, humans have learned to accept mortality by finding meaning rather than permanence. The Stoics, Buddhists, and existential philosophers all arrived at the same insight. Life gains depth precisely because it ends. Acceptance grows when you allow love, purpose, and presence to exist without demanding they last forever. This means letting go of mental rehearsals of loss and choosing engagement over avoidance. Loving fully, creating sincerely, and showing up despite uncertainty. You don't accept mortality in one moment. You practice it daily by saying, "This will not last." And that is why it matters. When death is no longer treated as the enemy of life, it becomes the reason life feels precious.